Hey, it's Matt Saunders from the Freelance Business Builder. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about how to go freelancing, and I'm going to be sharing with you 5 freelancing tips, all based upon my own experience and the experience that I have seen from my friends who also work in this industry. But before we get started, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. My purpose is to help other freelancers to build their confidence, charge more for their work, and to do better work. So the more people who find my videos and watch these tips, the better we can all do as an industry. So here we go, 5 freelance tips for beginners. Number 1, and this is number 1 for a reason. It's number 1 because it is the most important, and that is to let go of perfectionism and to stop waiting until the time is right. So many people take on small amounts of freelance work. Maybe they'll do it in evenings and weekends, and they'll have this idea of going full-time someday. Someday is not a day of the week. I've spoken to people who have been freelancing part-time on the side for 5 or 6 years, and I say to them, when are you going to do this for real? When are you going to take this business full-time and actually build a business? So the first block that people face when it comes to going freelancing, the first barrier, is this thing that they've created for themselves in their own mind that tells them, I'm going to stay safe, I'm going to stay in my full-time job, that's going to be my safety net, and I'm going to build this thing up on the side. That's fair enough, but if you don't give yourself a deadline, and if you don't take the leap, sooner rather than later, you run the risk of always living in someday world, where you never actually build the business and you never actually make your dreams a reality. So my first tip for freelancers, for people who want to start freelancing, is to just do it. Take the plunge, trust yourself. The work is out there, have a small safety net, that's absolutely fine, but don't wait around for it to happen on its own. You need to make it happen. My second freelance tip for beginners is to never, ever, ever work for free. I know this is a contentious topic. A lot of people will tell you that, you're just starting out, you can't charge a lot of money or any money for your services, you've got a lot to learn, so you might as well work for free to build up the portfolio and all this sort of stuff. No. When you work for free, you are telling yourself that you are not worth anything. You are instilling a mindset very early on that tells you you don't trust yourself and that your skills and time is not worth charging for, right? And that is a bad place to start from, because once you get into that cycle, once that mindset sets in, it's very difficult to break it. More seasoned freelancers, their challenges are often along the lines of, how do I increase my rates? How do I become more productive, right? This is the sort of stuff that happens later on. So from day one, you don't want to set yourself back even further by working for free. And there's another benefit to charging for your work, and that is that you will cut your teeth in those sales conversations. And by that, I mean, it's going to get messy. It's going to be hurtful, because you're going to be out there asking people for money in ways that you've never asked before. You've never sold your services before. You may just work full time. You get a paycheck every month. No problem. Maybe you've quoted for projects before, but behind you is your employer, right? So you put out a proposal, but you're actually doing it on behalf of the company that you work for. And I get it. Now you're doing this for yourself. It's all on you. And the pressure to work for free, especially to get those portfolio items in place, to get the experience in, is very strong. But the real experience in business ownership comes in selling your services and being able to find confidence in those sales conversations. So when you work for free, not only do you set your mindset off to the wrong start and you tell yourself that you're not worth anything, you also miss out on those valuable early lessons of actually getting out there and selling to people. And that's really what all this is about. And I know a lot of people in the freelance space don't like to sell, but ultimately they do sell, because that's how they That's how they get the work in. So you might as well take this lesson on as early as possible. If I could go back in time and give myself some advice, it would certainly be along the lines of start asking for money for your time and for your work. So one of my biggest freelance tips for beginners is to never work for free and to always see value in yourself, in your time, and in your own growth. Tip number 3 for how to start freelancing is to find your own clients as early as possible. A lot of people who work in agencies, for example, marketing agencies, creative agencies, SEO agencies, things like that, they'll go freelancing, but they will stay close to the shore and they will probably do some outsourced work for their ex-employer, or maybe they'll find other agencies who will farm out work to them. And that's fine. You know, you can do that. You can build a very good freelancing career this way. But what I always ask people is, do you want to do this intentionally? Like, are you doing this because it's what you really want to do? Or are you doing it because you're just scared of taking your business out into the big wide world and finding and serving your own clients? And like my last tip about selling, you really will learn a lot if you find your own clients. And it's going to be messy and it's going to be difficult. And so what you've got to do is get out there and find those clients and learn how all of this works. When you contract for agencies, in my opinion, you're only half going into business ownership because you're still, like I said a moment ago, you're still kind of tethered to the shoreline. You have the safety net of the agency that's sort of managing the client, finding the work, dealing with all the stress of running a business. And they're just kind of farming out the overflow to you. And you can do this. I personally wouldn't do this. I would go and find my own clients and I would learn the hard lessons of business ownership early on so that I can grow quickly and build the business and the life that I actually want for myself over time. And my 4th freelance tip for beginners is to be disciplined with your discipline. Now, what we want to do is create accountability for ourselves, because when you go freelancing and you start working for yourself, it can be very, very easy to just, act in ways that are not beneficial to that business. A lot of times people want freedom and flexibility in their life from their business, which is absolutely fine. But the problem is we often, as emotional humans, we often react quickly to things and we change our mind and we just sort of, our days lack structure. If we want to just randomly take a day off or, try and sell a different product or something like that, we can get messy and we can do all this sort of stuff. But without structure and discipline, you aren't going to be going in any solid direction. And so you will find that even if it's the first 1, 2, 3 years into your business, without discipline and structure and direction, you're still kind of doing the stuff that you were doing in the early days. So whilst a freelance business allows for a flexible lifestyle, what we don't want to be doing is falling back on how we're feeling in the moment. So, I mean, if you were to look at other areas of life, if you wanted to make progress in the gym, for example, you wouldn't be able to just be very loose with your diet, and you wouldn't just be able to take days off when you fancied it. There's a level of discipline here in business ownership, and freelancing is no different. So be disciplined with your discipline from day one, really. And if you do that, it's going to put you ahead of so many other people in this industry, and it's going to enable you to build a solid business. And it's also going to enable you to build some habits that actually back your daily activities so that you can create that business. Be disciplined. And my 5th and final freelance tip for beginners is to have fun. It is to make fun a priority in your business. I wish that somebody had told me this years and years ago when I started out, because it was almost like a baptism of fire for me. I went straight into this. I took my own advice here. I didn't have much of a safety net. I dived straight into it head first, but I had no direction. I had no discipline. I didn't really know what I was doing, and therefore it wasn't fun. And because there were so many pressures to, make money, to kind of sell my services, even though I didn't want to do that. It's kind of really weird. Fun wasn't something that I actually considered as part of the business plan. And I think it really should be for all of us. It's way too easy to take all of this way too seriously, to be bogged down in business development, in chasing invoice payments, in always looking to the next thing, always trying to think about how things are going to be bigger and better. And if you can just bring it back to the present moment and find joy in what you're doing, then you're going to be building a much more sustainable and pleasurable lifestyle for yourself. And it will also show up in the business in better work, right? Creative work comes from a place of enjoyment. It comes from a place of, free thinking, not being hemmed into these ideas of this is what the business has to look like. This is what my goals must be. This is where I must be in 6-12 months' time. It's nice to have those ideas, but don't get too attached to them. Make fun a priority in your business. So those are my 5 freelance tips for beginners on how to go freelancing. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up and also consider subscribing to my channel. I recently released a course called the Freelance Business Builder, which is developed just for people like you who are at the early stage in their freelance career. Maybe you're doing it part-time, maybe you're within your first year and you just need some stronger direction on where you need to take this business. Check out the link to the course in the description of this video. You will also find a voucher code to get 20% off. So thank you for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.